Hello, my name is Lillian Okibe. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to trim your own natural hair at home by yourself. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then definitely keep on watching. So this is one of my most requested videos. Like, you guys have been literally asking for this video, and the reason why it took so long for me to film it is just that, like, I ordered a pair of hair shears and it has just been taking too long to arrive. So I just figured I should just use whatever I have to do this video and get it over with, just because I know that some of you have been waiting to trim your hair, like for me to do the video so that you finally get to trim your hair. So that's why I'm doing this. But first, before we go into the whole trimming, showing you how I trim my hair, let me quickly answer some of the most frequently asked questions I get regarding trimming. So the first question is, does trimming make hair grow longer? Well, not the way many people think about it. Like, the fact that you trim your hair regularly does not mean that it will automatically start growing miraculously. You know, trimming does not grow hair. Like, just think about it. Cut your hair. The fact that you cut your hair does not mean that it will now trigger hair growth from the roots and then your hair will start growing miraculously. That's not how it works. However, trimming your hair regularly helps to keep your ends like free from knots, free from tangles, free from split ends. And when you don't have all those things, like, those things can serve as obstructions that can cause breakage. So when your ends are completely clean and free from all those things, it's generally easier for you to retain length and to crush your hair goals. So that's why people say that trimming hair helps to grow your hair, but like, it's not like a direct thing. It's just that it makes it easier for you to grow your hair longer, because your ends are basically free from knots and free from tangles and things like that. But that said, like, it's possible for you to grow your hair long, like very, very, very long, without trimming your hair. I know several people that do not trim their hair and their hair still grows really, really long. But the thing about that is that if you do not trim your hair, you're going to have to be more careful when you're handling your hair. If you don't want it to break, if you do not trim, because the fact that your hair is trimmed, it just, managing your hair just becomes easier. If you're brushing your hair, or you're combing your hair, or even if your finger detangling, if your ends are free from knots and tangles, the whole process will just be easier and you're going to finish faster. But if you do not trim your hair, you're going to have to be more patient when you're handling your hair if you want your hair to grow longer. For me, I feel like the reason why I trim my hair very, very often, at least every 3 months. Like, before, I used to have a routine of trimming my hair every 3 months, but now I trim my hair. I let my hair tell me when to trim my hair, and sometimes I trim more often than every 3 months. Like, the last time I trimmed my hair, I don't think it's up to 3 months already, and I'm already trimming my hair now, you know. So personally, yeah, the reason why I trim my hair is that trimmed hair just makes your hair aesthetically pleasing, in the sense that when your ends are clean, freshly cut, blunt and things like that, your hair just has that overall appearance of health, as opposed to when you have scraggly, stringy and like knotted, matted ends, you know, that kind of thing. So that's why I like to trim my hair often. Now, I should also say that how often you choose to trim your hair totally depends on you and your lifestyle. So for someone who wears her hair out very often, manipulates her hair very often, that person may need to trim their hair more frequently than someone who doesn't. Now, if you wear protective styles with extensions, those like expressions, caniculon hair, those kind of like harsh extensions, you're going to need to trim your hair more often than someone who wears their protective styles with just their hair. I know you did not think that, but that's actually that. Also, if you wear your hair down, but if you always wear your hair, even if you're wearing protective styles, if you're always without extensions, if you're always wearing your hair down to rub against surfaces and like your clothes and things like that, you're probably going to need to trim your hair more often than someone who doesn't. So like, that's just like a broad general rule when it comes to trimming. So now that we've said that, let's get down to business. So in the past, I used to trim my hair dry, like totally dry, but now I have graduated from trimming my hair totally dry to trimming my hair. I usually wet my hair now when I trim my hair, just because I feel like it's easier for me, you know. So I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be showing you guys today now is how to trim your hair with water. You know, but if you guys want to see how I used to trim my hair in the past, I'm going to leave a video in the iCards. That video is a bit old now, but just in case you guys are interested, I'm going to leave a video in the iCards for you guys to go and check it out. So yeah, where were we? So yeah, my hair is currently in braids. I have a total of 8 braids right now in my hair. I feel like it's easier to trim your hair, like if you want to trim your hair, it's better for you to stretch your hair. You don't have to blow dry your hair or flat iron your hair or anything like that, but it's just better, especially if you have a lot of shrinkage. Like you guys are watching my videos, if I want to trim my hair, I cannot trim my hair in a wash and go, because when my hair is in a wash and go, everything is just all coiled and all shrunken that my ends are not obvious per se. I have some ends curled up in the wash and go, so trimming my hair in that state may not be, I may not be able to get the best result because my ends are not exposed, so I'll not be seeing what I'm doing, you know, that kind of thing. So that's why I say that when you want to trim your hair, you want to start on kind of stretched hair. It doesn't have to be completely bone straight, but just relatively stretched just relatively stretched, so that you have clear view of your ends, because you're going to be cutting your ends, you know, so you really want to see your ends when you're trimming. So my hair is in braids. Because my hair is already in braids, it's already sectioned, I'm just going to be doing it section by section. So we're going to start with this back section here. I feel like I always start doing my hair from this place. It's actually unconscious. My hair is actually dry right now, so I'm going to be using a spray bottle to wet it. Now let's move on to the style of the show. I'm going to be trimming my hair with this pair of hair shears. So this is not the regular pair of hair shears that you guys know. You know, I've actually had this for a few years now, and that's why I actually want to change this now, because I feel like it's no longer as sharp as it used to be. This was actually a gift, so I don't know where you guys can get this, but it actually used to work. Like it's really small and tiny, but like it does an amazing job. But now it's no longer as sharp as it used to be, and that's why I wanted to get a new one. But like it still works, so let's just let's just do it. But if you can't, I feel like you should get something that is really like sharp, you know. Now another question I get is, how do I know when it's time for me to trim? I feel like your ends will tell you. When your ends start becoming disobedient, like it seems like no matter what you do, your ends are just like acting out or things like that, that is a sign that it's time for you to trim. Now in the past, I used to trim my hair with a comb. Like I used to have to comb my hair before trimming, but now I no longer do that, just because I feel like I can get away with that, like not using a comb to trim my hair. So yeah, but if this is your first time doing it, then you may need to use a comb, just to make sure that you are doing like, just to make sure that all your hair is like kind of elongated and stretched, so that you can see your ends properly. But I'm not going to be using, so I'm just going to take out, I'm going to be doing it section by section. So I'll just take a back section like this, put the rest away. Now I'm just going to gently wet my hair, just so that it's easier for me to kind of detangle and pull my hair to the end, so that every strand is kind of elongated. Because now my hair is clumped, so because of the braids I had in my hair previously, so I just want to gently dampen it a little bit, just to make it easier for me to detangle. Now the last time I trimmed my hair was, like I said, it's not up to 3 months already, so I'll definitely not have so much hair to cut off, you know. But if you have not trimmed your hair for a very long time, then you're probably going to need to cut more hair than I am cutting right now. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I like to trim my hair often, so that I don't need to cut so much hair, because I feel like if I'm going to be cutting a lot of hair, I'll feel bad. So that's why I like to trim often, so that at the end of the day, like when I'm done trimming, most times when I trim, like you really cannot tell the difference between like my hair before I trimmed and now. Like it will look healthier, you know, but you cannot really tell the difference in length when I'm done trimming. If I feel like I need more water, I'll go ahead and add some more water. After detangling my hair, I'll just take the hair and kind of pull the hair down, just to make sure that every strand is elongated. And I hold the hair just to see what the ends are looking like, you know. Then I can just literally feel my ends to feel where they are scraggly, you know. So if you look at my ends now, it's because I trim so often, I try not to cut so much hair, so that I don't end up letting go of hair that is not damaged. So most time I just trim just the ends. I do basically what they call dusting, so I don't do like major trim. I just pull the hair, pull it to the end, and then I pull until I have just a little bit of hair. Then I take my hair shears and cut just the very tip. Like for me, most times my problem is usually like maybe knots at the very ends, you know. So I just cut just the very end of the hair. Then after cutting the very end, I feel my hair. If it still feels rough, then I know that I have to cut more hair. But like if I feel the hair and it doesn't feel rough, then I know that I've gotten rid of the knots. You know, and I can move on. For this particular section, it feels pretty good. Now let me show you guys what it looks like now after trimming. So after twisting the hair, so you guys can see what the ends look like. It looks pretty nice, but I can still feel like a little stringly end there, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. So now as I'm twirling, like the end of that twist look really nice. So I'm done with that section. So I'm just going to go ahead and move to the next section. Now I know that it looks like I'm not cutting anything, and that's because I trim my hair very often, so I don't really need to cut so much. Dampen it a little bit to make it easier for me to separate my hair and detangle. Right now my hair is not really that bad. It's just not the best. Like my ends are not just the best right now. That's why I'm trimming, but I can go longer without if I'd gone longer, rather, I would have to trim more hair. So I'm just detangling my hands, and my ends. Then I'm just going to pull the hair and just feel the ends, detangle. So this is it. I'm just going to continue to pull and pull and pull until I get to the very end. Right, and then I just go ahead and cut those scraggly ends. Then I go ahead and feel my ends. If I feel like any obstruction and scraggliness, then I'll go ahead and cut it again. But if I don't, I know that I've gotten rid of most of the knots for that particular section. Like I said, it's not always like this. There are times when I usually have to cut more than this. But because I just trimmed my hair less than 3 months ago, my ends are not like so bad. So that's why I don't have much to cut. So I'm just detangling my hair to continue to feel if there's like any obstruction. And if I don't feel any obstruction, I just go ahead and twist that section. So after twisting it, I go ahead and like feel the ends for any obstruction or like weird feeling. And for this particular section now, I'm not feeling anything, so that section is good to go. So now I move on to the next section. That's basically all I do until I'm done trimming all my hair. Like so far I've basically cut almost nothing, but even though I've cut like almost, this is like all what I've cut. Like it's so negligible, but despite the fact that I've cut just a little, like it makes like my ends feel so much better. It makes a world of difference in how my ends feel, even though I haven't cut like anything. Basically I've cut nothing, you know. So many people shy away from trimming their hair frequently because they fear that it will not make their hair grow. Like they'll be cutting more hair than really needs to go, and their hair will remain at the same length, or it will get shorter or things like that. But
the thing is, there's technique, there is a way, you know. If you're going to be trimming your hair frequently, then you don't need to cut too much. Look at what my ends look like now before trimming. You guys can see that my ends look pretty much healthy, like they look healthy even before cutting anything, you know. So the purpose of me trimming and trimming frequently is just to make sure that I get rid of those tiny knots that may have built up on the very ends that will prevent me from having easy detangling sessions, you know. So that's all I'm doing. I'm not cutting hair that is healthy, you know. I'm just cutting those tiny knots at the very end, and you guys can see that I'm cutting almost nothing, you know. This technique works if you trim frequently. You don't need to cut more hair than needs to go.
I'm done trimming all my hair, and this is all the hair I lost. Like, this is all the hair I cut off. Like, it's very, very small. And I've, like, last time I trimmed my hair, I don't think it's up to 3 months already, probably 2 months or so. I can't really remember, but if I check it, I confirm. I'm going to put the date on the screen so that you guys can see. Like, when many people hear trim your hair, like, they get so afraid, like, oh no, my hair that I'm trying to grow, I don't want to cut it. But like, the more often you trim your hair, like, this is basically less than the amount of hair, less than or like about the amount of hair I normally lose, or like on a regular wash day, like if I wash my hair, like detangle and everything. And this is just hair from my, like, the ends, and it makes such a huge difference. Let me show you guys what my ends look like. Like, I feel like the more often you trim your hair, the less you're going to have to cut off, like, and that's kind of like generally reduces how much hair you actually cut off when you trim your hair in general. That's my own personal opinion, and that's what I've been using for years now. So that's why I like to trim my hair often, because I don't like to wait like 6 months or like 1 year before I trim my hair, then I have to cut a lot of hair. And like, the first time I ever trimmed my hair was like in 2017. That was almost 2 years after I went natural, you know, and I had to cut a lot of hair because I had like so many damaged ends and things like that. But like, since then, I just try to maintain the health of my hair, and I trim frequently so that I don't have to cut as much when I trim. And I feel like that has been working for me, and that's why you guys watch my videos and you guys see that my hair is like usually healthy almost all year round. That's because I trim my ends frequently, so my ends usually look healthy almost like all year long. So yeah, but you don't have to follow this technique. Basically, you don't have to follow this routine. You know, this may not work for everybody, but this is just what works for me. I also do not use a comb because I mostly wear my hair finger detangled anyways, so I don't see why I must like detangle with a comb just because I want to trim my hair, since I usually wear my hair finger detangled for the most part. If you're going to be trimming your hair with the mindset that you want to have like a shape, like you want to cut your hair into a shape, this is not the technique that you're going to use. Now, I've tried to cut my hair into shape twice. The first time I did that, I think that was like 2019. I also did that last year. I tried to cut my hair into a shape. I think that was like end of the year, like I think it was maybe September or like August or so. I can't remember. I'll also put that on the screen. And I don't think like I'm good enough. Like I've not mastered cutting my hair into shape, and so that's why like I've not shown you guys a video on how to cut hair into shape. But like when I master it, I'll probably show you guys. But this is how I trim my hair, and I trim frequently. Like last year I trimmed my hair, like after the cut I had, the shape that I had, that I cut my hair into shape in August, like thereabouts. I think I trimmed my hair 2 times again last year. So like since that last time I cut my hair into shape, you know, this is the 3rd time I'm trimming my hair, you know. And so that just gives you guys an idea of like how often I do it. Like I said, this may not work for everybody, but this is what works for me. With that, we've come to the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to my channel already, make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next video.